Do you see the title? This is my 10th hidden secrets video for Cyberpunk. That means I have officially shared over 100 hidden secrets within Cyberpunk 2077, and I'm currently compiling secrets for my 11th video, but that's for another time. Today I have 10 hidden secrets that you may have missed. Since this is my 10th installment of my 10 hidden secrets series for Cyberpunk, I have a few really big hidden secrets in this one. Dare I say, it's the best episode yet. But that's not for me to decide. You can judge for yourself. But make sure you watch until the end for a bonus secret. Here's a cool Cyberpunk Easter egg, and I haven't seen anyone else talk about it. But unlike a certain other content creator, I'm not going to lie about being the one to find it when I clearly didn't, so I can steal the credit, because that would be plagiarism. I only found this out myself when someone told me in the comments on a previous video, and it's so obvious that I'm kind of ashamed that I never noticed it sooner. But once I started to really look into it, I noticed that there were so many levels to this that it couldn't possibly be just a coincidence. There is a questline where you meet with a monk known as the Zen Master, and he will give you a meditation BD and guide you through the meditation, only to completely vanish once you finish the BD. However, each BD covers a different element, starting with the earth element, then moving to water, then the fire element, and finally the air element, which are the same 4 elements in Avatar: The Last Airbender. This may seem like just a coincidence. After all, the universe of The Last Airbender is inspired from Asian culture. But this does go a lot deeper. The Avatar in The Last Airbender is required to reach a state of total Zen, and is able to communicate with the past Avatar spirits by entering meditation, which is referenced through the meditation BD. The Zen Master even disappears afterwards, and the locals act like he was never there to begin with, as if only you could see him. Just like how only the Avatar can see the past Avatars. The dollar amounts you can give the Zen Master during the questline are part of the Fibonacci sequence, which is the mathematical sequence that is used to visualize the Avatar cycle in The Last Airbender. The Zen Master is also a monk that loosely resembles Avatar Aang himself. I've always thought this questline was a little odd. It always felt pointless, like it didn't need to exist. Or maybe that there was just something there that I was missing. Now I know that I was indeed missing a very elaborate Easter egg. Or maybe it just is a massive coincidence. So let me know what you think. So I went down an out-of-bounds rabbit hole a while back, visiting various locations that are normally cut off from the open world. But today we are going to focus on the Night City spaceport. Normally you'll visit the spaceport during one of Phantom Liberty's endings, and upon visiting the station you can actually see dead NUSA soldiers despite not actually having played the DLC yet. But on the outside of the exit to the station, you can actually see some graffiti that says J+M equals WNM, and after some deep internet research I found that WNM is an acronym for Wielka Nieskozona Mollusk. I got obliterated for that pronunciation in the comments of my YouTube short. But when translated to English means great infinite love, which is actually a popular phrase amongst Polish teens during the 1980s. With Missy being a 1980s stereotype and a character from Polish descent, it's safe to say that J and M stand for Jackie and Misty, which pretty much makes this the Polish version of writing your initials inside of a heart, which is something that we used to do way back when I was a kid, usually in obscure and unnoticeable places to avoid getting in trouble, like under the bleachers, or in the case of Cyberpunk, out of bounds at the Night City spaceport. This next secret is actually a bit tricky. Visiting Tom's Diner is required in order to get full access to the open world after the heist at Konpeki Plaza, but you can actually do some creative parkour to get access to the rooftop, where you can find a telescope. Looking through the telescope and making your way up the building on the left, you can see a red bird, which is CD Projekt Red's logo. And after looking at it for a few seconds, a picture of the developers at one of their employee events will pop up on the screen. Now I usually don't go out of my way to credit people who discover these things, especially when I find out about it on Reddit, because at that point it's public knowledge. It's free real estate. Okay, but on a serious note, I'm not naming fingers or pointing names, but another creator was credited by the developers in numerous gaming tabloids for discovering this, when they in fact did not. They just saw it on Reddit, same as me. In fact, roughly a week before that discovery, I wrote this down in my notes since I just saw it on Reddit, and I honestly thought it was just another random Easter egg that I haven't seen yet. As you can tell, I'm only now covering it. It was that far back in my backlog. But it was only added in the 2.12 update, and was discovered by these Redditors almost immediately after the update dropped. So they do deserve to be credited. It's one thing to report on someone else's discovery that you see on Reddit and not disclose that you got it from Reddit, but it's a completely other thing to blatantly lie about discovering it and manipulate your viewers so you can steal the credit and get free shoutouts from gaming journalists. I'm no Eddie Brock. Anyways, while we're on the topic of those who lack basic humanity, Trauma Team may seem like just another greedy corp that doesn't care about anything or anyone other than money, but that isn't actually true. Well, at least when it comes to the members of Trauma Team. Now for this, you'll want to make your way down to this location along the unfinished highway. The first time you come through here, you will see a massive shootout between multiple Trauma Team units and the Tiger Claws. Trauma Team is trying to rescue their client, but the Claws are making it very difficult. This is also the reason why normal EMTs are obsolete in this universe. You can actually help Trauma Team beat off the Claws, or you can sit back and let the client die. Most people who do this end up in a three-way shootout between both present parties. But if you are vigilant enough and make sure not to shoot any of the Trauma Team members, they will actually never attack you or turn on you. And after the Claws have been dealt with, they will resume their normal Trauma Team duties. However, a few days after this encounter, you will receive a text from Carolina, who is one of the Trauma Team members who was at the highway with you. She will offer her thanks for helping her team and her client, and praise you for your humanity by saying that you give them optimism and hope for the future of Night City and its safety. Since Trauma Team is a paramilitary group that actually believes in protecting those who can't protect themselves. Of course, you have to pay for their service because nothing is free. Let's be real here. Employees have to do their jobs, and these people are not contractually forbidden from sending you a thank you letter. Regardless, receiving a thanks from Trauma Team really makes you feel great about performing a good deed. And as soldiers, Trauma Team no doubt appreciates what you've done. But this isn't the only secret you can find while aimlessly driving around Night City. When driving around, I'm sure you've seen these random crime scenes. They are scattered all around town. But what if I told you they weren't actually so random, and that some of them are actually completely scripted and part of a hidden and much darker story, and it all revolves around this girl named Margaret Skaczynski. Let's just call her Maggie to prevent myself from straining my tongue trying to speak Polish. Now Maggie here is a struggling reporter for Growl FM, and you first see her across the street from this crime scene in North Oak. A corpo with new synth lungs has been struggling to breathe, and one day his lungs quite literally explode while driving. This is chalked up to a cyberware hack, despite not having any enemies. You can even listen to the now widow give her statement to the police. Across the street you'll find Maggie, who was promptly denied access to the crime scene. In fact, if you read the data shard, Maggie seems pretty upset that Netwatch got there first, even though Netwatch is typically the first to know about these kinds of things. But more on that later. The second time you see Maggie is at another crime scene in Corpo Plaza, where the crime itself is the exact same. A corpo fell victim to yet another cyberware attack, with only a homeless man as an eyewitness. But if you read Maggie's untitled data shard, it's revealed that Maggie actually wants to build an exceptional resume so she can send it to all the big news corps. The next time you see her is at the Arasaka estate, but this time she's no longer with Growl FM. She has a new partner and has changed her name. Now, I want you to go ahead and put on your tinfoil hats for a moment. This all hints at Maggie and her partner being the ones behind these cyberware attacks, not only to be the first to get the scoop, but also to make room for her in the industry. Then she tied up all of her loose ends by getting rid of her partner and changing her name. I know this is kind of a crackpot theory, and it probably should have been in my Unsolved Mysteries video, but I honestly didn't know about it then. And this all could just be a huge coincidence and an even bigger stretch. But again, let me know what you think. Now when it comes to secrets in Cyberpunk, they are quite literally everywhere. I often say that the developers definitely got bored and started putting random secrets and Easter eggs everywhere just to kill time. However, not even the Cyberpunk main menu is immune to CD Projekt Red's shenanigans. While sitting on the main menu, you can move your cursor over to the top right, where the current version of the game is located, and hovering your cursor over it for a few seconds will cause the build number to change to 2.0.77. This is another Easter egg that was only added recently, but the developers insist that it has always been in the game. Similar to the secret at Tom's Diner. I would know because I've done this before, and the numbers most definitely did not change. However, there is another hidden secret on the main menu. This one is actually a bit of foreshadowing and has actually been in the game since launch. Once you create your character, you'll be given a menu that summarizes your character. But if you repeatedly click the thumbprint, your menu will intentionally glitch to show Johnny Silverhand's character info instead, along with the lyrics to Never Fade Away. Now for this next hidden secret, you might want to put on your tinfoil hats again. There is a popular song from the 1970s called Dancing Queen by ABBA. Even if you don't recognize the name, you've definitely heard the song. The late Queen of England, Queen Elizabeth, is notorious for loving to dance, allegedly. And according to tabloid journalism, the late Queen has even stated that Dancing Queen by ABBA is one of her favorite songs. Towards the end of the Phantom Liberty main story, Alex invites you over to her bar for a few rounds of drinks, and she will even tell you that she wants to retire from the FIA and begin her new career as an actor, more specifically of the Broadway musical variety. But earlier in the main story, you have to sneak into an exclusive club called the Black Sapphire, and before doing so, you will meet with Alex at her safe house to go over the plan, and she will give you her signature weapon. This weapon is called Her Majesty, referencing the Queen of England. This very well may be a bigger stretch than Riley Reid's butthole, but it very well may be an elaborate Easter egg. Or it could just be serendipity. So once again, let me know what you think. Cyberpunk has a hidden line of text messages called the Pixel Fortress, and to unlock it, you'll have to go to the telephone that you used during Phantom Liberty, but you'll have to enter the number 1210-2020, and this will cause you to subscribe to the Pixel Fortress newsletter, which will send you a review for a video game every 7 in-game days. The first of which is of course the Mass Effect Easter egg that I covered in a previous video. But another one of these game reviews is actually a dig at pseudo-intellectual YouTubers, those like Hassan and the Cavernacle, people who make stuff up and lie through their teeth to force their own political ideologies onto stuff that has nothing to do with any of that. Now Cyberpunk loves to talk about social issues, and not any of that lame pseudo-social issue garbage either, but actual social issues, which includes the rise of pseudo-intellectualism. Cyberpunk actually has a whole side quest dedicated to making fun of pseudo-intellectualism. After a few in-game weeks, Pixel Fortress will send you a review for Roach Race, the fun arcade game where you play as Roach, the horse from The Witcher 3, where you run away from Geralt while collecting points and dodging monsters. The review starts off lightly making fun of The Witcher 3's glitchy but iconic horse mechanics, along with the game's unique control scheme, which just comes off as a funny self-reflective stance on one of their older games. The review then goes on to read as follows. Is it a commentary on late-stage capitalism, a metaphor for the ceaseless corporate treadmill, always racing for another carrot? But then what or whom does the horse's white hair tormentor represent? Was the vagueness of her motivation a deliberate design choice, intended to suit any player's interpretation or personal experience? Or maybe it's just a game about a horse hungry for snacks giving its owner grief. This is clearly another dig at pseudo-intellectualism, specifically those who talk about video games and try to make everything out to be an allegory for their political beliefs instead of just accepting the game for what it really is, which also really reflects the state of Cyberpunk as a whole, where a lot of people are trying to push the game as some political allegory when it really just isn't political like that. Mike Pondsmith himself even said so. It also brings up the conversation of red pill and blue pill of media comprehension. I know some people think red pill is some political thing, but it's literally just Matrix terminology. The blue pill, believing the fake fairy tale reality because it's safe and secure. Ignorance is bliss, as they say, with Roach Race being a political commentary about late-stage capitalism. Or the red pill, simply seeing the objective truth of reality for what it is, no matter how harsh, offensive, or brutal it may be, with Roach Race just being a cheap arcade game about a jumping horse. It's quite funny to see CD Projekt Red make a statement about this without actually making a statement about it. Nuance has always been their strong suit. During the main story of the game, you'll end up making your way to Jig Jig Street in search of Evelyn Parker. You'll eventually find out that she was sold off to be used to film special, illegal brain dances. So in order to find her, you'll have to track down the XBD dealer on Jig Jig Street. This man is actually an Easter egg. Once you find him, you'll end up buying an illegal brain dance from him, but scanning him will reveal his name to be Lenny Nero. Lenny Nero is also the name of the main protagonist in the 1995 cyberpunk movie called Strange Days, which is about a former cop, now black marketeer, that sells illegal virtual reality recordings that allows users to experience the experiences of others in their raw emotion, which is quite literally what a brain dance is. He will also ask you if you are a cop, but that might just be because he is selling illegal brain dances. While we're on the topic of Jig Jig Street, there is another little Easter egg here. There is a drug dealer on Jig Jig Street, located to the right after entering the area. She is actually voiced by a girl named Carolina Ravassa, who also voices Sombra from a certain borderline graphic video game called Overwatch, which just so happens to be another game that takes place in the year 2077. She is also credited as the Jig Jig Street drug dealer rather than additional voices, which implies that this is an intentional Easter egg. There you have it, 10 hidden secrets in Cyberpunk that you may have missed. If you want to see more Cyberpunk or other RPG related content, then feel free to subscribe. And remember not to take life so seriously.